Okay, let's spend a few minutes talking about target markets and specifically target markets for sports participation, sports products, and sports fans. A little bit about target markets. One of my favorite quotes is it's easier to hit your target if you know what you're aiming at. Hence the notion that you ought to have a target. Target markets are those groups of customers at which your marketing program is aimed. Hence the term target markets. Target for target, market for market, target market. The key idea, of course, is to identify customer groups that have a disproportionately large number of customers that want the benefits offered by our products, whether those be goods, services, or experiences. Additionally, the best targets are those customers that are both willing and able to buy your product and have a desire for the benefits your products offer. Now, target markets, as we mentioned in a previous lecture, are traditionally identified using descriptive factors, mostly demographics, but it could be psychographics and social factors, etc. They also tend to follow the descriptors that are used by media channels to market their communication channels as communication vehicles for companies that are trying to market their products. And so a radio station will show you a stat sheet that will say, here's who listens to our radio station. A TV station or a particular TV show will say, here are the people who watch our shows. And of course, you're familiar with the MRI data that we looked at in one other lecture. That data is also used to identify who watches a particular channel or a particular event on television, online, and in some cases radio. A couple of basic approaches to targeting. We can target one single group, or we can target multiple groups. So for instance, if we were targeting golfers, we might target female golfers. Well, that's a single group, obviously. Or we could be targeting youth and female golfers, which are multiple groups. We can also do our targeting on a general versus specific framework. That is, we might market to female golfers, which is a fairly general group of people, or we could be marketing to 18 to 35-year-old affluent female golfers, which of course is a much more specific group and a much smaller group, but might be the exact correct target for a particular product that we're trying to sell to them. So typical descriptors include such things as purchase history. Now, this is done mostly when we have databases available. That is, what have you purchased in the past? When have you purchased? How much have you purchased? And how much are you worth as a customer? Now, this is certainly true for things like selling tickets to sporting events. You know, people who purchase tickets to sporting events that are very similar to the one that we're marketing are the most likely customers. And if we have database information available, we might look at our database and market internally first rather than doing some sort of more traditional mass media marketing, as for instance on radio stations or TV stations. Another descriptor is gender, age, education. These are sort of the big regular ones, along with income, family size, marital status, whether you rent or own your home, perhaps the media habits, military background. It could be race, it could be social class, lifestyles, attitudes, interests, and opinions, AIOs. For businesses, it could be firmographics, could be personality type, it could be activities that you perform. For instance, you might be an active walker, and if you're out and you walk at the mall every morning, certainly that's a target market for certain kinds of goods and services. It could be location, could be size of the city. And when we start talking about specific sports marketing, we might have more specific sports descriptors. For instance, event attendance or sport participation, right? We could be identifying to be targeting people who go and watch professional baseball, or people who have gone to soccer tournaments, people who participate and play soccer, or people who have children who play soccer would be a participation descriptor. And of course, those attendance and participation descriptors might be occasional attendees and participants. For instance, have you attended a live soccer, professional soccer event in the last 6 months? That would be an occasional user. Do you regularly attend? That obviously would be a regular user. And if you're a heavy user, perhaps you attend on an even more often basis. In terms of people who are participants in sports, it could be someone like we're going to target tennis players. And then it might be skill level, beginners, intermediates, and experts. And so the idea here is that we can use specific sports descriptors to describe our target markets. Criteria for selecting target markets, well, it might be the size of the market. The size could be the number of potential customers, could be the number of units purchased, or it could be the dollar value of that particular target market. It could be such things as likelihood of purchasing, profitability, growth opportunities, loyalty, etc. Other criteria for selecting target markets might be how easy they are to reach, whether or not there's some synergy with other products that we offer, the status of marketing to them, and then whether or not we are offering benefits that they want, and even potentially message possibilities.